to take it for what it's worth. I'm not on a soapbox saying it. But there's something later that makes me think that's probably the case. Whatever the reason was, though, his family's on the outside of his kingdom mission looking in. Why? Okay, if you think like they think and you believe like they believe, imagine how this mission he's enacting is affecting them. If you believe what Jesus' family believes, and everybody knows y'all, I made a big mistake at one point in my life. I married a girl from Latasacalana. God just sneezed and I missed it, right? You just can't see it. And if you're in Latta and you go to the Tiger Mart and you get a hot dog, before you get home, everybody in town knows what you ate on it. Everybody knows everybody's business. Sounds a lot like Chapin, don't it? Chapin's bigger, but we know our business around here, and we know yours too. Just ask us, we'll tell you. Everybody knows everybody. Nobody travels more than the average of 20 or 25 miles from their home. It's not like they have cars. It's a tight-knit community. Everybody knows everything. Can you imagine how his family is affected by his life choices? Especially when you exacerbate the concepts that they have in their mind with the idea that he has chosen others instead of them. They're on the outside looking in. Based on that, let's look at Jesus' response to this request. You got it? They come, they send a word. Hey, Jesus, your family's here, your mama's here, mama here. You can do a whole lot of things, but you better go to mother when she calls, ain't it? She will stripe your tail. So they show up, mama's here, and so your brothers and sisters. What does he say? Then he replied to them, who are my mother and my brothers? And looking about at those who were sitting in a circle around him, he said, here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. Can you imagine the response to Jesus' response? He said, who are my mother and my brothers? Everybody in the crowd says, yep, they right, he is crazy. He's lost it. Who are your mother and your brothers? Doofus. We just had dinner on the grounds on Sunday together. We've been having barbecues all year for 30 years. If you don't remember who your mama and daddy are and who your family is, we need to see a specialist. The elevator ain't going up, right? Oh, he's officially crazy now. He don't even know who his mom. And then to make things worse, he looks at a bunch of people that ain't from around here. He went out and got them, brought them back. They ain't been at the dinner on the grounds. They hadn't been at the family barbecues. You ever been a special guest at a family reunion? You talk about awkward. And so here they are. He says, nope, don't know. Here's my mother and my brothers and my sisters. And Jesus, dude. This fishy-smelling dude, I don't know him. I've been knowing you all my life. And Jesus makes a statement. He looks at the circle around them, and he's trying to teach a spirit principle, a kingdom principle, through a fleshly circumstance. He says, look, the people who do the will of my Father are my family. So if you want to fill in on your sheet, write this down. God's family is made up of God-filled followers. God's family is made up of God-filled followers. Now, there's evidence that these circumstances don't change his family's heart. And you say, if I was his family, I wouldn't be any closer to following the dude. He just shamed us in front of our whole family and community relations. You're tracking with this, right? It's a big deal. It's like Jerry Springer stuff. Now, what's the new one, Montel or whatever's happening today? After this, Jesus traveled in Galilee, and since he did not want to travel in Judea because the Jews were trying to kill him, the Jewish festivals of tabernacles was near, so his brothers said to him, leave here and go to Judea so your disciples can see your works that you're doing. So his brothers say, look, man, go out and let people see you. Go out and let your people see what you're doing. For no one does anything in secret while he's seeking public recognition. You trying to get elected or not? Get out there, let people see what you're doing. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. For not even his brothers believed in him. John 7, 1 through 7. You can go back and read that later. And Jesus said, look, my time's not arrived yet. You don't understand. You're not tracking. Now look at me. Based on these occurrences and the things that we talked about today, we can glean two unmistakable points. Number one, Jesus knew something about his family. He knew his family was trying to control him, and he was distancing himself from obligations to family honor for the sake of his greater calling. Does this make sense? Jesus has been sent by God on mission. And for whatever reason that isn't depicted here, but that we could guess, his nuclear family, his blood family, is not jiving with the mission. Right? so he's distancing himself from that. And then he does something else. He commends others to do the same thing. Right? Jesus underscored in the strongest terms that he could that the pursuit of God's will is the highest family value. The pursuit of God's will is the highest family value. That's how the family of God is defined and recognized. But still, can you imagine how his earthly family felt? Some of you can imagine all too well how his earthly family felt because you're living this in real time right now. Now listen, this is from God today, and this is what he wants us to understand. God is not trying to disenfranchise the family. God is not trying to take what he worked so hard to create and work against it, because the kingdom divided against itself can't stand. So why would God do what Jesus has been accused of doing and made a plain statement? If the devil's working against himself, leave him alone. He'll be his own demise. Why would God do that? Why would God take this institution that he's put out there, this family, and work against it? It goes without saying. He's not trying to disenfranchise the family, so he must be doing something else. He is. He's trying to define the family. He's trying to delineate the family's mission, and he's trying to grow that mission to the ends of eternity. That's what's going on here. Now, the human family is defined, we talked about this earlier, as a permanent human community united by the ties of marriage, blood, or adoption, right? That's our definition of the human family. Here's the definition of the family of God. The family of God is a spiritual kinship of all the believers to each other and to God in community. The family of God is a spiritual kinship of all believers to each other and to God in community. Watch this clip.
Before I came to Christ, my relationship with my family was definitely not good. A lot of hate, a lot of anger. Parents were always fighting. Me and my stepdad never got along, never saw anything eye to eye. He was always abusive towards me and my sister. So the entire family was just engulfed in darkness, a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, a lot of spite for each other. And that made growing up very difficult for me. I came to Christ at the age of 17, and the second I did so, as soon as I told my mom, she instantly thought that I was just rebelling against her, trying to find one more way to get back at her for all the things she's done to me. So she did not accept it at all, and it only made our relationship worse. She wouldn't talk to me, she wouldn't look at me, she refused to have anything to do with me. But through all that, Christ gave me a lot of strength. He gave me a lot of wisdom, so I continually prayed to him. I continually read my Bible daily. I would do it where my mom could see it happening, especially. And so she began to notice that it wasn't just a rebellious statement, as they could say. It was more of a life choice from her eyes. And so she saw that this was real. And so she wanted to know more. She wanted to know why this wasn't just a rebellion, why I changed my entire life around this. And so she began to ask questions. She wouldn't come to me with it, but my sister, who was also saved at the time, she would ask my sister things. And my sister kind of vouched for herself and I on why we chose this lifestyle, explaining what Christ has given us, that the gift, that salvation, and just the pure joy and happiness that we've had in him. And so she began to understand more and more about this Christian life. And so ultimately, in the end, she decided, both my children are going for this. My entire family is ruined right now, but there may be hope that we can rebuild it back together one day. So she herself gave her life to Christ in hopes that he could heal her and our entire family. After becoming a Christian, Christ showed himself. He showed me what love is and what a family model should look like based on his design. And so from the time that my sister and my mom both also submitted themselves to Christ, we've been able to slowly move towards that point. So there's a lot less anger, a lot less hate. I mean, we're not perfect, but there's definitely love there now, which there was never before. From what I've learned, whether you come from a Christian home or a non-Christian home, you still have a lot of influence in your family. Just having God's love backing you up in your conversations and your relationships will bring a lot of healing to your family. So you don't have to be the parent to be able to influence your entire family. Just be open and don't hide your faith.
years that we've been doing this, we've seen this a lot. We've seen a lot of young people come to Christ, and through that relationship with Christ and the changes that God made in their life, their family couldn't help but take notice and make choices. And I don't want to belittle this concept because I believe in it wholeheartedly. I believe it's possible, but it's not plan A. It's not plan A. And imagine the young person that comes home and is trying to follow Christ, and mom and dad don't understand it. We just read about what it was like for Jesus. You got to choose God's will over your family will. You're a young person, and they pay the bills. They feed you. They clothe you. They're the one that you need rides from, right? God's design is not to reach into the families through the kids. It's just a workaround. God's design is to reach into the families the way Jesus reached into his.